evening, Stud Studio Works fans. Tonight I'm going to answer the most commonly asked questions that I've received from people with pets during COVID-19, particularly the last 2 weeks. So everybody is concerned about how to take care of their pet. And so let me give you a little background. I know that I've mentioned before that I'm a national certified master groomer, and that took me a long time. That took me a long time to study and to go to different test sites to show my practical skills, which is actually grooming dogs. I had to groom a dog in non-sporting, which is the poodle. I had to groom a dog in sporting, and I took a Cocker Spaniel. I had to groom 2 terriers, a long-legged and a short-legged terrier, and I had to take an exam at every single one of those sites that I took those dogs. And I also had to take a 500-question Master Groomer exam. That was a long time ago. And since then, I have many more decades of experience. So people hire me basically to go into their homes and care for their very precious small breed dogs or cats. And I love it. It's great. But here's what happened. So COVID-19 happened, and we're on lockdown. And while my pet productdelivery.com service is still running and doing great, there are a lot of people that don't know what to do with their pets. So I created this fantastic, I thought it was a great service. It's called Ask a Master Groomer Online. So people can just go onto my website, pay for a few minutes of my time, and just like this, except it would be live one-on-one. So you could have your pet in front of you, I could have my pet in front of me, and we could groom together, and I could give you some tips. So I thought that was a great idea. So let me tell you what's happened. Some of my clients that I've known for decades, and I think that they're awesome. They've been with me through thick and thin. They are just like family to me. But I don't think that they're, right now, I guess they're a little bit panicked, and they're used to me being there for them. And I've done a lot of things for the same price for a long time, and now I'm not there. So I've had some questions that I would like to address now, because even if you're not one of my clients, maybe you have a question like this, and I think it's worth hearing. So number one, I am not going inside people's homes. Well, why am I not going inside people's homes to groom? Well, let's say that COVID-19 is not a real threat, and it's just made up, and I'm not in any danger at all going inside people's homes. Let's just imagine that. Well, I can tell you that multiple times inside people's homes, I've had people sick with the flu, and I've had people on radiation therapy and all kinds of things and not tell me until I showed up. Now, that's not part of my policy. Part of my policy, it's on my website, is that if you're sick or your pet's sick, that you must let me know and we can reschedule. I won't charge you. Like if I came and you weren't there, I'd charge you for the visit. But if I came and you were sick, or if you called me and let me know you were sick, then no problem. We reschedule, no charge. If I'm already in the home, it's not helpful, because not only might I get sick, but I might make somebody else's family sick, traveling house to house. So we don't like that. But let's say that COVID-19 doesn't exist and it's just completely made up. Well, there are still government restrictions on who can go inside a person's house and what kind of work they can do. And in the county of Montgomery County, where I live, that we're still honoring that restriction. It's called a moratorium on those types of services. So that's one reason. A lot of my clients live in Harris County. A lot of my clients that have, I just want to be clear, this is only about groom clients. This isn't about my delivery service, because that has not changed at all. Delivery service is going great. But for my groom clients, a lot of them live in Harris County, which is the county next to, just south of Montgomery County. And it's the same thing. Now they're talking about lifting some of the, some of the restrictions, but everybody will have to wear a mask. So the restrictions haven't been lifted yet. And one of the things that I told my clients, or I put in two different emails, is that when the restrictions are lifted, I want to be working within the government guidelines. Then I'll send out an email to everyone moving forward. So clients that have monthly appointments, standing appointments, I'm going to take care of them first. And everyone else is, we'll just work it out and we'll set appointments. So I thought that was very reasonable. The question that I've had lately is I've had one person send me a text and say, hey, I heard that the moratorium that the governor of Texas, Governor Abbott, who I love, by the way, I think he's very practical, leader that he's going to, lift restrictions and sign me up. I'm going to be the first person. Well, once again, that hasn't happened. He said that he's targeting the end of April, which is coming up. It's just in a few days. That text came last week, and I addressed it with an email to everyone, because I think if one person's thinking that thing, then maybe other people are too. The second thing that's happened, which has happened before and after that person sent that text, is people are asking if they can come up here to the Woodlands where I live to drop their dog off at my house. So let's think about that for just a moment. So I live in an apartment in a community where there's a lockdown and there's social distancing. And so everyone in the community is social distancing. Like from where I'm sitting here, I can look out the window and there's a park that used to be full of people every evening and there's nobody there. So if my community is social distancing and nobody's supposed to be visiting people, or you can be outside bicycling or jogging, that kind of thing, but you have to keep your distance from people that you don't live with, then it's not going to work for you to come to my house. It's not going to work for you to come to my house because I live in an area that's social distancing, number one. Number two, I live in an apartment and it's against the rules for me to be doing any type of walk-up business for my apartment. Number three, if it wasn't against the rules and there was no lockdown, it is again an apartment. I'm on the third floor of a walk-up building and there's neighbors below me, beside me, and behind me, and blow dryers are really, really, really loud. So not going to happen. So I really just want to say, first of all, this very respectfully, that the people who have asked those questions, I am so grateful that you think enough of me that you feel like, your pet must be groomed by me right now. But on the other hand, I also am not quite understanding why it's not clear that I can't do that. So I hope that it solves that problem and answers those questions. And for those of you who are not my client yet, I'll let you know that I'm going to put a link to Ask a Master Groomer, which I think is a much better solution, on the bottom of this, down here below this video. Because Ask a Master Groomer is going to be real time, just like this. All you have to do is pay online. You'll get an email setting up the appointment, and then it's great. So we've taken care of that. Now let's answer some other questions that people have asked. I had one person send me a text, and I delivered some food to her a long time ago, although I still consider her a client for other things. She's a new client. I haven't met her face to face, but I do know that she has a Shih Tzu, and the Shih Tzu has some skin issues, and she asked me recently if a particular brand of dog food that I sell has ever caused a pet to start itching. And my answer was no, never, but any pet food can have any number of ingredients that might make your pet have an allergic reaction if your pet is allergic to one of those ingredients. Now, the problem that pet parents have is they think, well, this is a good bag or that's a bad bag, and it's just a bag of food with a lot of ingredients. If you don't have your pet allergy tested, then you're not ever going to know how many times, doesn't matter how many different foods you try, you're never going to know what your pet's allergic to. So now that she had that question out of the way and I gave her the response, my next question to her was, number one, have you had your pet allergy tested? And number two, what flea control product is your pet on? So that was a really good question for me to ask because I've been around the block a few times, and here's the answer that she gave. And I think you'll see the logic in me asking those questions. The first answer that she gave me was yes, my pet has had allergy testing and the vet says that my dog has flea allergy dermatitis. Well, we almost don't need the answer to the second question, but she did. She answered the second question, which was, my pet is not on any flea control at all. So we can see how it's easy because we're all watching TV and we have all these ads for this is the best pet food. This pet food has a picture of my breed on the bag, must be the best pet food. That doesn't mean anything. If your pet is eating, even if it's scratching, even if it's scratching immediately after it eats, it may or may not have anything at all to do with the pet food. So if your pet is scratching and itching, I recommend that you take and you've tried everything, you've been to the vet numerous times, and no amount of pharmaceutical products or changing pet foods makes a difference, then you need to have your pet allergy tested. You need to have your pet allergy tested, and we pretty much solved that lady's problem. And so I sent her a link to something called Flea Control 2019. It's a flea control page that I update every single year in June. And so I'm going to put that link down below also. The next thing is that I've totally had my mind blown because I have my son's living here and he's walking around the house, which he shouldn't be. So my apologies to you guys. I hope there's not a lot of background noise. I'm not going to edit it out probably because this is a long video. The next question that I had right after that, lady, is I had a client send me a text this morning, and I can't see her dog, and her dog is, it's been probably about 6 weeks since I groomed him, and he really needs a groom. And she said that they got off their flea control medication, and he's been scratching, and now he's got a rash, and what product would I recommend to help his rash? Well, I asked her some more questions, and she didn't want to answer them. She just will go to the vet next week, which is fine. I hate for the dog to have to wait an entire week to have his rash looked at. But, it's important to ask questions. I can't, like, she's not doing Ask a Master Groomer, which I'm going to keep saying that this is the best solution to your grooming issues. If you're at home right now without your groomer and you need a groomer, it's much better to have a one-on-one tutorial rather than send me a text. So the text I sent back to her was for her to send me a picture of the shampoo she bathed her dog in, front and back, because it's not a shampoo she's bought from me, and it's clearly not a shampoo she's bought from her vet because she seems to feel that the shampoo made the dog itch. Number 2, to send me the information about the flea control product she's on, because she indicated that she changed flea control products. And number 3, to send me a picture of the irritation. So if I have all 3 of those things, it might not be the best way to diagnose, or not diagnose because I'm not a vet, but to make a recommendation on what products she should use. But it would give me a pretty good idea because I've known them for a long time. Does this dog have flea allergy dermatitis? Well, that's a different product that you would use to help him. Is this dog having an issue with the shampoo that one of the pet parents used? If I can't see the label of the shampoo, how would I know? Was this dog brush burned? So brush burn is a really intense word, and what it means, you should actually say brush irritation, but what happens is when people can't groom their pets, they'll wait until they get matted and then try to get the mats out. Folks, if that ever happens, if your pet ever gets matted, do not try to get the mats out yourself. Getting the mats out will cause your pet, whether it's a cat or dog, to have a very bad experience, and you can injure the pet. Now, I happen to know that this particular pet parent, who's a wonderful person who I love very much, usually waits until the day before her groom, and then she brushes the dog really, really hard with a brush like this. So this brush is awesome. I love it. It's a brush I use all the time and I recommend, but you should use it on hair that's not matted. It can be tangled, but not matted. And this little curved back, if you use it properly, will help, detangle the hair. But if the hair is already a clump or a mat, if you pick it up like this and you brush really hard, you're going to make a red irritation on the skin. So without knowing about the shampoo, without knowing about the flea control product, without seeing the irritation to know if it's a flea irritation or a brush irritation or what it is, then I can't make a recommendation. So sadly, she chose just to wait, and it's good that she's going to the vet, but it's also very sad the dog has to wait a whole week without any advice. But if she had just dialed in to Ask a Master Groomer, or even sent me a picture, I could have helped her. So I'm going to recommend some products that while you're at home that you might want to use. So the first thing I'm going to do is tell you, if you have a cat or dog with long hair or even thick coat, to buy yourself, you can get them online or just reach out to me. You can contact me. I'll leave my email below and I'll get you one. But this is a steel comb, and this is just a wonderful, fantastic product because what it'll do is you don't want to pull the mats out again. Never at home demat your dog. Just forget it. Don't demat your dog. Don't demat your cat. If the mats are already in there, just wait till you can get to the groomer, or take them to the vet and have the vet shave them. It's not pretty like a groomer would be, but it's 100 times better than having you injure your pet. But if you use a steel comb like this on a regular basis, pardon the background noise, I have somebody who's walking through the house. But if you use a steel comb like this on a regular basis, just once a day, watch this. I have no tangles in my hair, right? I just slid it right through. Well, if you put it on your pet's skin like this, let's say this is your pet's skin, and you put it here and then you just pull it through like that, and you don't find any resistance, then you know that your pet has no tangles, and also you're preventing tangles just by running this comb through your hair. Now, if you put the comb in the pet's hair and it hangs up and sticks, then that tells you that you have some tangles there, and then you can pick up a brush like this and very gently use this curving motion to take the little tiny tangles out. You never want to slap it. You never want to hold it by the handle and brush it like this. And by the way, folks, a lot of you are using something called a Furminator, and I know that it's a big hit and everybody loves it, but it does not detangle your pet. It does not, it's a great product for some things, but what I see people doing is raking and raking their pet's skin, and it looks like they're really getting the undercoat out because it's, much less hair, but what it actually has is a razor blade inside, and it's very fine teeth, and it would be great for, cutting the hair or thinning the hair out. But if you think that you're really doing a good job on your pet while you're doing just cutting the top layer of hair, and there could still be mats underneath. So I'd really like to see pet parents stop using the Furminator or using it less. If you have a double coat dog like a pug or a thick coated lab, I think it's a great tool, but provided that the animal is already clean and dry and that you disinfect the tool before you use it and after you use it, because here's what can happen. If you're using the Furminator, and I know everybody thinks they're not hitting the skin, but a lot of people are, and you make some tiny, tiny, tiny lacerations that you can't even see with that tool, then what can happen is that the bacteria on top of the skin can invade the skin, and now you have a bacterial irritation. And your dog's itching, and you can't figure out why, and then you're using the Furminator again. So just take it from me, either don't use a Furminator at all, or if you do use it, make sure that your pet is clean and dry and the Furminator tool is disinfectant. You can use isopropyl alcohol, just rubbing alcohol, which I always carry with me when I groom in a spray bottle, or you can use some product made especially for disinfecting grooming tools or barber tools, but do not use a Furminator that's been laying around over and over again on different animals. So that's that. So the next thing is, if you're at home and your pet gets dirty and maybe it doesn't have very long hair, you just need some cleaning around the mouth or the paws, you're like, well, Sandy, what should I do? Well, there's nothing wrong with bathing your pet, but please consult with me. You can easily contact me via email because every pet needs a different product. I have many products on my website, but I, would never make a recommendation for a product unless I see your pet. But if you just want to get a little dirt off, your pet has a little dirt around the mouth or, a little bit of dirtiness when it comes in from a walk, try this. This is a spree of oatmeal baking soda wipes. They're good for just about everybody. I've used them on all kinds of pets, and they smell good and they eliminate odor and quite easy. If you are that pet parent that is brushing your dog, it's not tangled, it's not matted, it's just a little bit tangled, then I recommend two things. One, if you're bathing the pet already, then while the pet is still soapy, take this tool, this fabulous slicker brush. There are a lot of different brushes, but I'm going to recommend this brush, not the one with the balls on the end because it doesn't do anything. But this slicker brush, doesn't have to be this brand. And while the pet is soapy, brush the shampoo through the hair. It's like magic. You will actually take some of those little tangles, not big mats. If your dog's matted, you should not put them in the sink for any reason. Okay, but if your dog's just a little tangle, or maybe you just want it to look really pretty when you're done, take this brush and brush the shampoo through gently. Brush it all the way through and then rinse. When you get your pet out of the sink, if it's still a little bit tangled, take your comb, your steel comb, and put it on the hair just like I did. Woo, it should just slide through. If it doesn't, and the dog's not dry yet, you don't want to wait till it gets dry because the hair will draw up and then it'll be matted, then what you want to do is take the steel comb and this brush and this product. This is a Spree dematting, detangling and dematting spray. Again, I know it says dematting, but don't ever try to do your own matted pet yourself, ever, 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 ever. You're going to make a mistake. But this product's great. In fact, the dog doesn't have to be even tangled or matted. It makes them real shiny. It has organic aloe vera. I highly recommend it. It's on my website. I'll leave you a link. So I hope that helped you. Those are my most common questions that I'm getting during the lockdowns in COVID-19 about, grooming pets, and problems that they're having with their pets at home, and what do I use on the pet? I also have a product called Skin Soother, which is nice for skin irritations. It's not long-term helpful if you don't know what the reason of the skin irritation is, but I'll put a link below to Skin Soother. And thank you so much for listening. I hope that answered some questions. And if you have any more questions, or if there's anything at all that you want to know about art, pets, or yoga, give me a shout. Leave a comment down below, or email me or text me. I'll leave all my information, and you have a super beautiful evening. Mwah! See you later.